Hello, welcome and thanks for choosing this video course. In this video, we're going to dig up the secrets of high-paying clients and how to close big-ticket sales. So without further ado, let's get started. First of all, why do we go for high-paying clients? Who are these people? They're not just your average customers. Instead, they're the ones who are willing to pay you double, triple, or even 50 times more than what you would earn from your average customers at the same amount of time invested. Now, why is that? It's because they're the high-end clients who understand more on the value you offer. Besides, these people are who we see as ideal clients and long-term clients, who you can make a difference with and you love to work with. Let's have a look at these options here. Coaching 100 or even 1,000 separate low-ticket clients and coaching one high-paying client to earn the same amount of money. So, which is more efficient to you? Everyone only has 24 hours in a day, no more, no less. Thus, our goal is to make the most profit possible with the least amount of time. Be productive by using fewer sources to produce more output. As you're working with the ideal clients, they're cooperating with you to make notable changes in their businesses and lives. In order to produce a very good result, you can say that they're actually growth-oriented and will go for it with the help of your expertise and support. Thus, by working long-term with these people, you'll get to know and understand their needs better. Also, you can earn more and at the same time be able to have the time and freedom to travel around the world, spend time with your loved ones, and enjoy the life that you want. When you charge more, you'll feel that you're being valued for what you're worth. You could provide them with a better service and make a better impact without worrying that you're being taken advantage of. Not to mention, you'll gain more satisfaction as the work you're doing actually makes a difference. Hello, welcome and thanks for choosing this video course. In this video, we're going to talk about what it takes to close high-paying clients. How many of you ever think, it's impossible for me, or I'm not sure whether I can close high-paying clients? I am an introverted person, I'm too shy, or I'm not comfortable talking with those high-paying clients that I need to deal with selling. Selling is not my strength. I'm not good enough in selling, and I'll never be able to sell to high-paying clients. So with these negative and disturbing thoughts, you become less confident and automatically downgrade yourself that you cannot do what you actually can do. Not finding anything that could act as a booster will only make you keep feeling discouraged and afraid to do things. Do or do not. There is no try. It is one of the most famous quotes from the Star Wars series that each of you seems to know. Hence, the first step that you should take in order to sell to high-paying clients is to work on your belief system. If you have limiting beliefs in yourself, it will not bring you far. This is one of the key factors that holds most people back from closing high-paying clients. Marketing and selling high-end services is not something that you can make a 360-degree change to overnight. Yet it's still possible to have a sustainable business that's more rewarding and satisfying. Attracting more high-paying clients is an option as it will not happen accidentally. Thus, needs to be done by design. If you're dedicated to developing and implementing the design consistently, there you go. Most of your clients will be high-paying clients in a year or less. Now, let us take a look on what is meant by belief. Our core belief system has been constructed and shaped throughout our lives based on numerous events we've experienced that we perceive as true or false. Do you realize that most of our beliefs are shaped by others, such as parents, TV, and social norms? However, the challenge is, most of us are unconsciously deciding what we're going to believe. Instead, our beliefs are often misinterpretations of past events. As an illustration, let's take a look at this analogy into belief. Think of a belief as a tabletop, and without any legs, the tabletop won't even stand up by itself, right? So what if belief has legs? Here is when you want to believe in something. You have the references to support the idea. The references are the specific experiences that back up the belief, whereby in this case, the legs are the supporting evidence. These are the legs that make your tabletop solid, and thus, it makes you certain about your beliefs. To put it another way, I'm going to give you an example just for you to get the idea of belief. Let's say if you believe that you're not good at mathematics, you probably have a lot of references to back it up. Maybe you've answered wrongly in class for several times. You failed the last 2 tests, or maybe your mother said something like this: "I'm afraid you got my genes in the math department, my dear." And it could be many other reasons that you could refer to make a stand on your belief. So based on the references above, you can find experiences to back up almost any belief that you hold on to. Now let us see how strong the power of belief is. It's either your belief helps you or hurts you, or either it can empower you or cage you in forever. This short story will show you the effects of beliefs. Elephant keepers have an interesting way of keeping their elephants from running away. They tie them to a wooden peg with a rope. It doesn't make sense on the surface, since a rope like that has no hope of holding a grown elephant. But ask any elephant keeper and he will chuckle and explain, when a baby elephant is born, the herder ties it to a peg with a rope. At this point, the rope is strong enough to hold the elephant. The baby elephant quickly learns that trying to escape the rope is futile, and he keeps that learning with him even as he grows up and the rope becomes far too weak to hold him. One day, the circus accidentally went on fire and the elephant died. He was enormous and he could have easily ripped the pole out of the ground or run away to safety. But there was a self-limiting belief in his mind that told him he would not be able to do it, and so he did not even try. Like the elephants, we often form beliefs that might be useful at first but then hold us back in life, long after the original reasons are gone. This can be concluded by a quote by Anthony Robbins: "Beliefs have the power to create and the power to destroy." Now back to the famous quote on belief from Star Wars, which I've mentioned earlier. The lesson to be learned here could be related to a scene where Master Yoda uses the Force to lift the entire crashed ship out of the swamp, moves it through the air, and gently places the ship on firm land, as light as a feather. Luke Skywalker stammers, I don't believe it. And the Jedi Master replies, "And that is why you fail." Again, I would like to highlight it here. Despite the question of whether we could achieve the targeted goal or strategy, it's normally our skepticism or doubt that restricts us from fully dedicating, which eventually becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy when things fail to work out as we thought they would. Our beliefs somehow affect how we apply ourselves and will eventually give impacts to our success. So how to turn your self-limiting belief to a belief that is empowering you? When there is a little voice that says you're not good enough or you're not able to do it, turn it to this: if I could help someone to get the result for themselves faster, easier, and more efficiently than they could do it for themselves, that's all the credentials I need. After you've grasped the idea of belief, how far the power of belief could influence you, and how to scratch the limit to yourself in believing something, you are now ready to sell to high-paying clients. One requires different selling approach and skills in closing high-paying clients. Here we have 5 ways in the list that you should pay attention to. 1. How to position yourself as an expert. 2. How to identify and qualify the right clients. 3. How to get clients' interest and present the opportunity. 4. How to handle different sales objections. And 5. Closing skills. These points will be further elaborated in the next section. In making any purchasing or money-related decision, every client wants to be working with an expert, someone who has a definite and legitimate solution to their problems. Nobody wants to be paying someone who may end up wasting their time and money because of insufficient capability and knowledge. As a marketer, you have to stand out among the crowd to attract clients. You are just one of the millions of fish in the infinite ocean of alternatives. So what makes you different from other marketers in the business? What does it take to make clients opt for your service or product over somebody else? You become the expert. You establish a brand that everyone seeks because you're the best go-to expert. Here's a few steps on how you can position yourself as an expert in your field and stand out among other marketers. Step 1, define your expertise and own it. A lot of people tend to say, "But I'm no expert." Yes, sometimes it's true. You probably aren't the best there is. But often it's just the wariness and low confidence playing in your mind. It's funny how even after spending years in a field and producing consistent results, people would still be wary to stand up and claim themselves as true experts. Think about it. If you're not confident in your expertise, How and why would any client be willing to pay you big money for business? So don't be wary about what you're good in. Be bold and clear. Stand up and own it. Speak of your expertise to people. Tell clients what you're good in, why, and how you did become the expert in what you're doing. Also, what's in it for them if they pick you instead of the others. Think about it. Would a client rather work with someone who says, well, I guess I help people get more traffic and something like that? Or someone who says, I am an online traffic expert? Be definite and confident. Own it. Your client would appreciate it as it instills confidence in their decision to work with you as well. Next up, step 2. Create an expert intro for yourself. Come up with things that can introduce your expertise to clients, videos, articles, interviews, or even live talks, just anything that you can use to reach out to people and introduce yourself. An expert intro will help to establish your credibility. It's a very powerful tool to convince your clients that you are indeed who you say you are. In your intro, you can state your area of expertise, your tagline, any catchphrase or slogan that you can use to advertise yourself, the name of your website, your service or product, etc. Make sure it's one that will clearly work to inform clients about your expertise and what it can bring to your clients, how you can help them, and why should they choose you. Step 3. Share your credibility story. It's extremely essential to provide stories or past experiences that can further prove and justify your claim as an expert. Therefore, it's important that you share your story to enhance your credibility. It works as a connecting device between you and the audience. It helps to establish authority and trust. Then it motivates them to take action. Do this step by step. You can begin by sharing your story about how you struggle to succeed. This will draw rapport as people can relate to you. Later, then you can describe your qualifications and experiences. What are the sources of your deep knowledge? This will work to demonstrate why you know more than other people in the market. Things like certifications, degrees, years of experience, first-hand trial and error, etc. should do the job. Lastly, you can share your personal stories of finally achieving success as well as the stories of your successful clients and customers. How did they achieve success through doing business with you? Step 4. Testimonials are the best social proof. This is the best and most effective way to build trust and credibility. Another person's comment or opinion about you is a very powerful tool. Most people would trust a third party's word more than the person's words themselves, because we believe in majority and we find social proof more trustworthy and legit. So if you're not already receiving some volunteered testimonials to review your credibility, you can start asking people to help you. Send an email to your list to request for their feedback on their experience working with you. If you're willing to go further and extend, you can also offer free coaching sessions to people who, in return, are willing to be a part of a before and after experience case to be featured as a social proof testimonial on your site or blog. Step 5. Marketing approach. How you sell and communicate to your clients will affect your positioning and credibility also. A lot of marketers are still using the old selling approach where they talk about themselves. For example, look at how good I am. Pay me money and I'll do it. If you're always talking about yourself, how good you are whenever you engage in conversation with clients, you'll be perceived as pushy and a fake wannabe expert. An expert selling approach is to talk about how you can help them get to the results they want. For example, you need help? Well, here are some things I can do to solve your problem. Let's do this and also that. Now, how did that work for you? Great. Why don't you try this next? Let me know if there's still a problem. Clients are simply looking for people who can solve their problems. The amount of money they're willing to pay you will be in direct proportion to the amount of confidence they have in your ability to get them results. So in order to build that confidence in them, you need to reach out to them with that right approach. Demonstrate that you can help them by actually giving constructive and result-paying solutions to them. Give the prospect what they want, and it will get them to raise their hands and say, "Please help me." In order to market your product or service, it's important that you target your marketing and sales efforts to a specific population of clients that are most likely to buy from you. Identifying your market helps you to meet your clients' needs. You have to find out who your clients are, what do they want, what can they afford, etc. Targeted marketing ensures that your business is indeed catered to the right clients and it can sustain your business in the long run. You don't have to try to work with everybody, just work with the right clients. Targeting the right segment of the market. A market is simply any group of actual or potential buyers of a product. So how do you find out which is the right market segment to target? You need to identify what segment of your market's going to benefit the most from working with you. Understand what your business has to offer to your clients. Identify your product or service's features and benefits. For example, anti-lock brakes. They are features on a car, but the benefit to the consumer is safety. While features are valuable and can certainly enhance your product, benefits motivate people to buy. When you know what will make customers buy your product or service, you can identify your potential market. Let's say in this case you can target a specific group of consumers with similar characteristics, such as families with young children. That's an example of market segmentation. Next up, how do you determine if this segment of the market has the criteria qualified to your business? After identifying the potential segments within your target market, the next critical question is whether it would be profitable and feasible for you to pursue each identified segment that fits your business purposes. To make this decision, here's a list of qualifying criteria that you can take into account when you decide. Money. Are they financially qualified to engage your services? Needs. What are the challenges, problems, or improvements the prospect's facing now in their business? How critical is it for the prospect to solve these challenges? Desired outcomes. What is the client's desired outcome? What would they like to achieve in a specific time frame? What are their goals? Is the expectation of the prospect realistic? Would you be able to help them achieve their goals in a specific time frame that the prospect wants? Expectations. What kind of dream clients are you looking for? What's your expectation toward your dream clients? Commitment and determination. What kind of commitment is required from the prospect? Do they have burning desires to achieve their goals? Are they determined to follow through your coaching advice? What are the possible distractions that your prospect is facing in his or her life that may distract his or her focus? Hello, welcome and thanks for choosing this video course. In this video, I'll be talking about how to attract high-paying clients, which is a simple 6 steps, starting from how to propose a sale with your potential client to closing the sale. For the first step, there are 2 aspects that you need to cover on. Firstly is the purpose of the call, and secondly, setting expectations and establishing credibility. 1. The purpose of the call. When it comes to initiating a call with a client, you need to set up the purpose of the call. A good example to kick things off is saying, "Hey there, client's name, I'm calling because you submitted an application to me. I get hundreds of applications a day compared to hundreds of applications that I've read, and your story is the most compelling to me. That's why I'm giving you a call back. Do you still remember submitting an application on my website? And is this a good time to talk?" 2. Setting expectations and establishing credibility. The next thing you should touch on once your client has complied and is available to talk, you can start with setting up expectations and establish credibility about yourself to the client by saying, "The reason why we have such a high success rate with the people we work with is because we take the time to really get to know them, so we have the ability to truly help them. So the way this works out is that I'm going to ask you some questions about your background and experience so I can come up with a success plan for you. At the end, we can decide if this is going to be a good fit for both you and me. Does that sound fair?" Understanding the client's needs and building trust. For the second step, there are 3 phases that you need to go through to fully understand your client and build a mutual trust between you and the client. In the first phase, you need to know their current situation. You need to uncover what they like, such as asking, "Did you watch all the videos? Even the ones on the thank you page? What is it about the video that made you want to apply? What did you like about it?" Moreover, you need to understand their background and their current struggles as well by asking, "I'm curious about you. What's your background? What's your story? How many hours do you currently work right now? How long have you been trying to succeed with this? Are the people in your life, your friends and family, supportive of your goal? Why now? What's the biggest thing driving you to make this happen now more than ever? In the second phase, you need to know and discover their dreams and goals. What is your goal? How much do you want to make per month in the next 90 days? Then ultimately, how much do you want to be making? Repeat back what they said. Once you're making that, how would that change your life? What would that do for you? Additionally, you need to find out the obstacles that they're facing by asking, "Those are really good goals. Right now, what's stopping you from achieving your goals? What are your biggest obstacles, frustrations, and challenges?" Thank you for sharing that. So if you solve that problem once and for all, you think you'd finally succeed? Our first goal would be to replace your income. Then the next goal would be to replace the income of your household. Right now, what would it take to replace your income? Because that would be our first goal. In the third phase, you need to build trust. You can start by acknowledging and reassure their decision by starting, "You know what I deeply respect and appreciate about you? It's the fact that you are persistent, very persistent, and you never gave up no matter how hard it got. Also the fact that you just took action. You watched my videos, went through the entire process, and filled out the form. Most people just let opportunities pass them by, but you took action. Where did you learn that from? Were you always like that?" Moreover, you should build commonalities with your client by sharing your story and relate it, if possible, by stating, "Thanks for sharing that. I can completely relate. Now here's my story," and then you share with them what you have in common and open up, build a connection. Most of my successful clients have one thing in common. They never gave up and they always had the drive to succeed no matter what. All they needed was a little guidance, someone who's been there, done that, to show them what to do. So I'm excited for your success. Moving on to the third step, which is educating your clients. What you should do is basically help them by actually helping them. What I'm trying to do is give them new advice, such as success, talking about what mistakes most people make and what you should do and why. Next, you need to put emphasis on the big reasons why people fail, such as not having a mentor and no proper guidance, lack of technical skills, and insufficient time. Additionally, you can touch on lottery mentality mindset versus business mindset. Basically, one of the big reasons people fail in their business is because they're having a lottery mindset when running their business. They are expecting good results with zero or less effort from their side. They want to grow their business, but they're not willing to invest in their business. Successful business people have a different way of thinking and a different mindset, which we call a business mindset. They understand the power of scaling. They know if they want to grow their business, they need to invest money into their business. They will not be doing everything by themselves. In fact, they'll outsource some of their work, as they know how to better use their time and leverage on other people's expertise. They don't give up easily when at first things don't turn out as well as they want. In fact, they'll review and change or twist their strategies until it works. If you realize your client's mindset is towards lottery mindset, then you've got to spend some time to educate him or her during the call to ensure they are having a right mindset before you lead them to the next sales process level, pre-presentation framing. Another aspect that you should touch on is offering a formula to become successful. The formula of success basically touches on mindset, skills, mentor, and ways to get the work done for you. Now let's get on to the fourth step, which is pre-presenting framing, where you need to assess your client's overall situation starting from Step 1, qualifying and assess their commitment, where you can ask about, have you ever had a mentor or coach before? How are you with following directions? If someone gives you a step-by-step plan, can you follow it? How many hours can you realistically put towards your internet business on a daily basis? How are you with someone holding you accountable? Procrastination is the number one reason why most people fail. How do you overcome procrastination? Step 2, reconfirm the goals, where you can touch on, if we get you to achieve income goals, income in 90 days so you can experience actual goals they have, is that something you want to do? Step 3, assess their financial budget. What would be your budget for that? Step 4, invite them to watch the video presentation, which is the final step, which you can touch on. Are you in front of your computer? I'll send you an email right now with a video link. I want you to watch. Call me back after you finish watching the video. Next to the fifth step, which is how to present your solutions effectively, where you can touch on matters such as common mistakes that you should avoid and what is the right approach to presentation. There are various mistakes that people commonly make, such as sending your proposal over an email and then sitting and waiting and hoping the potential buyer gets back to you, even though this may work on certain cases, but it drastically reduces your chances to win a deal. That being said, why it may reduce your chances to win a deal? Firstly, your potential client may change his or her mind while waiting for your proposal. Your potential client may forget about the values and urgency of solving the problems. Your potential client may have different interpretations on your proposal. Last but not least, they may not be able to see the big picture and ROI. Generally, the best approach is to deliver your proposal live. This allows you to get the most out of your proposal, and you need to walk them through it as well. Before we jump into the solutions, there are 3 regular mistakes that you should avoid. First is presenting features instead of benefits. Second, did not change the benefits based on the needs of targeted audience. And last, selling the product instead of the results. To address the first problem with presenting your solutions on transforming features into benefits, features refer to the surface statements about your product, such as what it can do, its dimensions and specs and so forth. Whereas benefits show the end result of what the product can actually accomplish for the buyer. Take, for example, Google Analytics. Its feature is detailed statistics tracking, and the benefit is you get to know what your readers are doing. One example of its features is writing high-converting web copy. Now, what if you can't figure out if something is a feature or a benefit? Ask why is it important to your customer. If you have arrived at an answer that even a 3-year-old could understand, you found your benefit. Take, for instance, you run a freelance writing business. You have a network of other writers to whom you can subcontract. Is your network a benefit or a feature? Benefits don't always have to solve a literal problem. Some of them work on a strictly emotional level. Emotional benefits come from features that your customers make a personal connection to, not a practical connection, giving them a different reason to invest in your brand. Take, for instance, the feature is the handcrafted jewelry, and the emotional benefit is that nobody else in the world will have the exact same item you have. This appeals to the customer's emotional need for independence and identity. Moving on to the second problem with presenting your solutions on transforming features into benefits. The benefits need to be beneficial to your target audience, where your benefits should change depending on the needs of the target audience. Each of the potential buyer's business situations are different. They are facing different problems and they have different objectives to achieve. So you can't just present the same set of benefits of your solutions to all potential buyers and hope that they can connect the benefits to their problems all by themselves. When you present the benefits of your solutions, remember to connect it with the problems that your potential buyer is facing. Connect it with the information that you obtained when using spin selling technique. Next, on to the third problem. You should be selling the results, not the product. People aren't looking for your service or product. They're looking for results. This is where your customers want to change the way they feel. They want to adjust the way they act. They have goals, they have desires, and they have dreams. To gain the trust of high-paying clients, stop selling how great your product is, or the solution. You've got to show them how you can help them achieve the results that they desired. Lastly, use visuals that allow your customers to see if they are getting the results they want. Now let's move on to the script for your video presentation, starting from the opening starting phrase 1, which is the opening. Step 1, share some universal and truth to secure attention. Think of something that is true for you and it's universal. Example, do you want to earn more money this year than last year? Second example, have you awakened in the morning and got up from bed and felt tired? Step 2, acknowledge your audience. Because they may feel skeptical at this stage, and it's best to get acknowledgement from your audience. For example, I want to thank you for watching this video. This showed that you are committed to grow your business and achieve your dreams. Step 3, set the expectation. What's in it for me? Here's an example. I'll do everything in my power to make it well worth your time and investment. By the end of the program, you will learn these. Step 4, ask for permission to share your story. Example, since we will be spending some time together, will it be okay if I share with you a little about my background? Step 5. Share your expert story positioning. This is where you can share your success, your struggles, your strengths and learnings, and your beliefs. Next, on to Phase 2. This is where you share parts of your content strategically. Think of one main concept that you want to teach your audience. Break the one main key concept into 3 secrets that you're going to share with them. The 3 secrets are to answer the 3 biggest objections that your audience may have in their mind. For example, the biggest myth is, most people think, here is the reason why people find it hard. It's because... Turn the common objections into 3 things that you will share with them. You can use third-party authority to share your content by stating, people come to ask me and how I achieve success. I'm going to share with you. Moving on to the third phase where you present your values. Stack technique means stack all the values that the client is getting by mentioning each of the values that they are getting and how much each value is worth in dollars, before telling them the price. Example, in this program, you're going to have a proven script that I used to close high-paying clients. This script is worth $500. When you have this script, you'll have a sense of confidence in closing high-paying clients, and it will increase your closing ratio. Also, you'll receive a one-to-one coaching from me for 3 months, which is worth $20,000. I'll also share with you my proven sales funnel, and you can just copy my sales funnel, which is worth $15,000. The total value that you're going to get from this program is more than $100,000, and you'll realize you'll make more money than your average day after the program, which we have not calculated the potential income that you're going to earn. How to present the price to your client. Only tell your client the price of your services or program after they've recognized the total value that they're going to get. Here's an example. The total value that you're going to get from this program is worth $100,000, but I'm not going to charge you $100,000. As mentioned earlier, this $100,000 value has not included the potential income that you're going to earn in the next few years. Before I tell you about the price, can I ask you how much are you willing to invest to enjoy this $100,000 value of stuff and the potential of double and even tripling your business? I'm going to give you a deal that most people think I'm crazy. And this deal is only for you if you sign up today, as I really want to help you to succeed. After today, I can't offer you this deal with this price anymore. So please take action fast before I change my mind. The special price that I'm going to offer you is XXX dollars. Again, I can only offer you this potential deal for today only. Again, if all these values that you're getting was to enable you to double and triple your business potential, enable you to have more time to spend with your family, and enable you to earn more, even if you are not around, will that be worth it? Keep in mind the discussion in Step 1. Emphasize one benefit rather than features. If you think your product or service is in terms of how it benefits the customer, your presentation will be focused and related dialogue rather than a self-increasing monologue. Nothing is bad than a sales presentation which proceeds from the seller's point of view. This is why the needs evaluation is so important and why it will ideally flow in and out of this step. A good needs evaluation allows you to shape your presentation to your audience and keep it engaging. Next, moving on to the pre-closing stage, you can try to use some of the following closing techniques as a pre-closing in your presentation video to lead them to the closing stage. The first closing technique is cost versus value, which allows you to switch their focus on how much this is going to cost to how much it's worth. Take, for instance, how much is it worth to you if you can? Second closing technique is money is a resource, which basically means you'll spend this money anyway. Why not invest in yourself so that you can? You will be able to get it back. Now, what's the one thing that you'll never be able to get back? The answer is time. The third closing technique is either way you'll still pay, which refers to you can pay me to learn from my mistakes or you can learn from your mistakes. Either way, you're still going to pay. Now, moving on to the closing stage of the sales process. There are only 3 phases that you need to go through with your client. Phase 1 is eliciting values, where you can explain about the following points. First, did you get to watch the video? What'd you think? Second, if money wasn't an issue, which one of the packages appeals to you the most? Third, what is it about that package that caught your eye? Fourth, so if you had, repeat what they like, do you think you'd finally succeed, and why? That being said, repeat back to them what they like and ask them if they would succeed if they had that. Phase 2 refers to assuming the sales and setting conditions, where you can explain about the following points. First, which one of the packages did you want to do? Second, we have 2 conditions with everyone we work with. First, once you start seeing results from this program, are you okay with doing a testimonial for us? Second, once you start seeing results that you're happy with, will you be open to upgrading to our higher packages? Third, if those 2 conditions are met, then we can work together. Now, moving on to the third and final phase, which is future pacing and closing the deal, where you can touch on the following points. First, here's how it works. After you sign up, my team starts working on your stuff within 1 to 2 hours. The goal is for us to have something up and running, getting you results within 7 days. In order to hit that goal you want, stuff needs to get done pretty quickly. Are you okay with us moving fast? Second, so one of the things we'll do today is start setting up your multiple streams of income. How often do you want to get paid for your commissions? Weekly, bi-weekly, or monthly? Third, do you want to get paid by check, direct deposit, or by PayPal? Fourth, what's your best email address? Fifth, what's your best mailing address? Sixth, what name should the payment be written out to? Seventh, awesome, I'm sending this out to my team right now so we can get you something set up today. So you want to use Visa or MasterCard for your payment? Hello, welcome and thanks for choosing this video course. In this video, I'll be talking about facing sales objections. Selling doesn't come naturally to most of us, but that doesn't mean you can't do it effectively. Often the answer to understanding what is preventing your potential client from making a decision in your favor. Once you know why he or she is uncertain, you can reply directly to that specific objection. The common sales objections that people faced from their clients, such as giving excuses on your prices being too high, I need to discuss this with my spouse, is there a guarantee, or I want to think about it first. All the objections can be categorized into these 4 kinds of objections. How to know the above objection should fall under which category? You need to probe deeper into the true core of their objection. Lack of need. If the prospect looks right, fits within your targeting criteria, but they don't see the value in what you have to offer. Lack of urgency. You build the relationship, develop trust, the client knows you can help, and money is not an issue. However, the prospect can't move the project forward. They have a full plate and are waiting for the right time. Lack of trust. Trust comes down to whether or not the prospect believes you can do what you say you can do. Lack of money. You need to recognize if this is a genuine objection. An obstacle can be overcome, a genuine objection can't. When it comes to common mistakes, you are the type of person who quickly deals with sales objections, providing answers immediately, trying to overcome them as quickly as possible, and move towards the close, right? If so, you're probably not taking the time to fully understand the objection and what's behind it by asking clarifying questions. Dealing with the issue thoroughly enough and to the level of satisfaction the prospect desires. Presenting a compelling enough argument to overcome the objection and ultimately win the business. There will always be a point of time where you put so much effort into your presentation that all of a sudden your prospect raises an objection due to the fact that he or she isn't convinced of it. How did you go from hero to zero so quickly? What was so wrong with the way you handled that objection? This is where you should try and apply the APAC model. It's a simple little acronym which is worth remembering for the next time you're handling an objection. Step 1. Acknowledgement. You may initially think that this objection isn't anything worth writing home about, but the worst thing to do is to just dismiss it. Start off by recognizing that it is an issue and open the floor to discuss it. Second step, probing. Before jumping in, you need to spend some time making sure that you've got the full picture. Is there a particular reason that your prospect has raised this issue? Have they had a bad experience in the past, and is it actually relevant to what you're offering? Step 3. Answering. Now that you've probably gotten to grips with the situation, you can respond to it. Make sure to fully address any concerns the prospect might have, which you should know all about thanks to your intense probing session. Last step, closing. Finally, you need to confirm that the issue has been dealt with and close it. Remember, with the issue closed, you're also one step closer to closing the sale. When it comes to dealing with being objected for your price being too high, there are several mistakes people tend to respond with. First common mistake. Prospect, well, the price is too high. Salesperson, so how much can you afford? This is when most salespeople tend to jump into giving discounts. Second common mistake. Prospect, the price is too high. Salesperson, let me explain to you again how much value you will get from this program. Most of the salespeople tend to jump into responding to prospect, explaining the values to the prospect again without really understanding what the real meaning of the prospect's objection is. Now, if you apply the use of the APAC model in handling sales objections more effectively, this is how things should go. Step 1. Acknowledge. I understand sometimes money can be a concern for some people. Step 2. Probe. If you don't mind, can you share with me why you feel the price is too high for you? You need to listen carefully to the prospect's response after you probe further to clarify the prospect's concern. For example, if the prospect's response is as below. Actually, I see the value of this program, but the price is beyond my budget. So this objection can be categorized as lack of money objection. What if the prospect's response is as below? I don't think it's worth the investment. The objection seems towards lack of need or lack of trust instead of lack of money. Let's probe further to clarify the prospect's concern to find out the real meaning of the objection. Well, thanks for sharing your thought with me. Can you help me to understand which part of our service or program that you don't see has value? In your opinion, how much value can you get from our service or program? What are the things that you expected but didn't mention in the video presentation? If the response of the prospect is as below, I'm not sure if you're able to help me achieve the results that I want after I invested this amount of money with you. Then it's clear that the objection is due to lack of trust. But what if the prospect responded as below? The investment that I need to pay is higher than the value that I'm going to get. In this case, the objection is due to lack of need. Once you really understand the prospect's real concern, then you'll know how to respond and answer the objection by addressing the prospect's concern. What if the objection is due to lack of need? If the prospect looks fitting within your targeting criteria, but they don't see the value in what you have to offer, you are the one at fault. Either you're not resonating, not exploring all possible needs, or not addressing the right need. How should you respond to this type of objection? 1. You may need to continue to explore the prospect's needs by asking more questions. 2. Help the prospect to understand his or her own needs clearly and magnify their problems and pain. 3. Educate yourself about the prospect's business, industry, and competitors. With this knowledge, you can take a good sense of where you can add value and how your services might help. By simply looking at what their competitors are doing, you gain valuable insights and ideas. Your prospect will take notes, as I have never met a prospect that was not interested in market trends and competitive insights. Next, use the following closing techniques to close the deal after responding to the prospect's real concern. Here's closing technique number 1, cost versus value. Switch their focus on how much this is going to cost to how much it's worth. For example, how much is it worth if you can? Closing technique number 2, money is a resource. For example, you will spend this money anyway. Why not invest in yourself so that you can? You will be able to get it back. What is the one thing that you'll never be able to get back? And the answer to that is time. Closing technique number 3, either way you're still going to pay. For example, you can pay me to learn from my mistakes, or you can learn from your own mistakes. Either way, you're still going to pay. If the objection is due to a lack of urgency, when this happens, you have not demonstrated the impact of your solution well enough. Help the prospect see the value of how you can help by focusing on these 2 types of impacts. 1. Rational impact. The rational impact is all about determining the ROI and building the business case for moving forward. If you've done your needs discovery properly, you should be in a position to present numbers that clearly demonstrate the impact of your solution. The prospect must see a tangible dollar value. No ROI leads to any urgency. 2. Emotional impact. People buy with their hearts and justify with their heads. The emotional impact of a solution is just as important as the numbers. To uncover the emotional drivers, focus on those things the prospect wants to achieve. We call these aspirations. Aspirations go beyond the pain, those things the prospect must change, and focus on the things he would like to change and the potential rewards associated with getting this done. Paint this inspirational picture by focusing on these key questions. If you are able to work on this and get this done, what would happen to your goals? If you delay, what consequences might you face? Use the closing technique number 4, if not now, when, to resolve the objection due to a lack of urgency. Take, for instance, I know you're here to want to change your life and grow your business. What would be the benefits to you if you take action now? If not now, then when? Your competitor's business will continue to grow every day. Assuming the sales and setting conditions. So, which one of the packages did you want to do? If the objection is due to lack of trust, 1. Start with research. The more knowledge you have about the prospect's company and industry, the more confident the prospect will have in your services. 2. Be genuine and show interest. This might sound basic, but all too many salespeople go through the motions and fail to recognize that at the most basic level, you are having an interaction with a fellow human. If that interaction fails to resonate with the prospect, all's lost because there's no relationship, no chemistry, and no trust. Relax, smile, have a positive attitude. Ask questions that show an interest in your prospect as a person, not just a business partner. People trust people they like. 3. Balance inquiry and advocacy. Find the balance between asking questions and talking about your offerings. One of the best ways to advocate is by telling stories. Sharing relevant stories and examples also shows how you've helped other businesses and is the best way to build credibility. Stories are an endearing and tangible way to demonstrate the intangible. Just make sure to articulate outcomes and results. When it comes to closing, assuming the sales and setting conditions. Which one of the packages did you want to do? If the objection is due to lack of money, your prospect sees the value of the services that you're offering. They have trust in you and believe that you're able to help them to achieve their results, but they have a budget issue. Money is a real concern for them. You have to make a decision if you want to work with this prospect. Example: I'm happy to know that you see the value of what we're offering and trusting our expertise. As this service requires a lot of my personal time, I would not be able to give any further discounts. May I suggest that you give yourself a period of time to focus on gaining some capital from your current business first? Do approach me when you have enough money to invest to scale up your business. Does this sound okay to you? 2. Offer an alternative way to work together. If you think this potential prospect is your dream client, but their budget is just slightly below your fee, you can offer an alternative way, such as an installment plan, or offer a lower range of services. When it comes to closing, you should state, well, thanks for exploring the working opportunity with us. I hope we're able to work together soon. When it comes to dealing with objections, such as, I need to talk to my spouse, this is how the dialogue potentially could play out. That makes a lot of sense. Do you think he or she will have some questions about what we've covered today? What type of questions do you think that your spouse will ask? He'll probably ask about the price. Well, that's an easy one to answer. Do you think he'll ask about the technical side or the mechanism issue? Prospect: I don't think so, probably not. He or she is more concerned about price. You: what do you think he or she will say about the price? The prospect then says, it's too high. Then you say, I bet that's exactly what he or she will say. What do you say about the price? This is the test that determines if you're dealing with a smokescreen or an objection. If it's a smokescreen response, the prospect will say, I think the price is a little high. You have just discovered that the spouse is probably not the issue. It's the prospect's perception of your value and price. What you need to do now is continue in addressing the objection. Refer to overcoming the objection of lack of need. If it is a genuine objection, the prospect would probably say, "I think it's perfectly fine." Then you're dealing with a genuine objection. You've got two choices here. 1, get the husband involved over the phone. 2, set up an appointment to come back and visit with them both together. You will have to make the best call here. I understand that whether you are on a big sales lead or a low service call opportunity, it can weigh heavily into the right decision. Let's take a look at how to set a new appointment with the spouse. You say, "Well, let's make sure your spouse gets the full picture because I reviewed a lot of information today and I understand that it's a lot to consider. I can come back this afternoon and review these options with the both of you at the same time. Will that be okay? Will you take a look at your calendar? Okay, 6 works for me. Would that work for both of you?" When it comes to dealing with the objection from "is there a guarantee," you can qualify the prospect and educate them. Take, for instance, for this dialogue. You say, "John, whenever I ask someone for a guarantee, it usually means of these few things. 1, I doubt about the capability of the service provider. 2, I doubt about myself. 3, I'd like to try it out, but in my subconscious mind, I foresee the outcome is not going to be positive. Be honest with me, which one of those things is in your mind right now?" The prospect says nothing. Then you say, "John, do you agree that in order for you to succeed in your business, you've got to burn all the bridges behind you so that you will do whatever it takes to make sure you achieve your goals? If there is a money-back guarantee promise, I can assure you that you won't be able to make it because in your subconscious mind, you have already installed a programming to tell yourself that it's okay if you cannot make it as you will get your money back. You know this isn't going to work. If you still want the money-back guarantee promise, I'll advise you right now it's best to keep your money and don't start this program as it'll be a waste of time for both of us. So, John, please tell me, what do you think? Shall we proceed further to work together to get the desired results?" Last but not least, let's take a look at the last objection on, "I want to think about it." When directing the prospect, you say, "John, whenever I tell someone I need to think about it, it usually means one of 3 things. 1, I'm not going to do the deal for whatever reason, and I just want to get off the phone. 2, I like the idea, but I'm going to have to find the money or talk to my partner or something else is holding me back. 3, I really like the idea, and I just have to move something around before I say yes. Be honest with me, which one of those things is it for you right now?" Qualifying the prospect. You say, "Perfectly fine. Just to be sure, do you understand how this would work in your environment, right? Are you confident that if you moved forward with it, you would get positive results? If you decided to give this a try, is the budget there to move forward with it? Then just to clarify my thinking, what factors will you be considering in thinking about this?" Getting the prospect's commitment. You say, "No problem, John. When should I call you back on this? When can I expect a call from you on this? And what is going to happen between then and now that will convince you to move forward with this?" Besides the common sales objections that you need to deal with, there are also other aspects that you need to avoid when handling objections. Don't knock the competition. That takes the focus off of you and your company, and you never want to do that. Don't tell the customer that they're wrong. Don't tell the customer you don't understand. Don't argue with the customer. Don't lie to a customer. Long-term relationships are built on trust and honesty. It's far better to say, "I don't know, but I'll find out and get right back to you." Don't be defensive. That is not a positive approach to an objection. Don't lose your cool with the customer. And finally, don't let an objection go by without an answer. Hi, welcome and thanks for choosing this video course. In this video, we're going to talk about how to price your product or service. A business might set or adjust prices when they start up, when introducing a new product or service, to achieve a new business objective or in response to changes in the marketplace or the general economic climate. Whatever the occasion, setting prices for your products or services is possibly one of the most important business decisions you make. It does have a considerable impact on your profitability and thus can be a decisive factor in the financial success or failure of your business. Determining a pricing strategy should not be carried out in isolation, but in relation to your evolving business strategy. You need to be clear about what your pricing objectives are, how they relate to your general business objectives, and how they tie in with your marketing and sales plans. There are many different approaches to pricing, but the two most common are cost-plus pricing, value-based pricing. In this section, I'm going to talk about the cost-plus pricing. This takes the most cost of producing your product or service and adds an amount that you need to make as a profit. This is usually expressed as a percentage of the cost. It is generally more suitable to businesses that deal with large volumes or which operate in markets dominated by competition on price. It is important to be aware of the effect any price change will have on variable costs and factor this into your calculations. Care must also be taken not to overlook hidden costs and inadvertently overestimate potential profit per sale. This approach also disregards potentially important factors such as business or brand reputation, market positioning, and the value of the product or service to the customer or client. Indeed, setting prices based just on cost can result in selling a product or service at less than the customer or client is willing to pay, thereby failing to maximize potential revenue. With value-based pricing, you focus principally on assessing what the product or service is worth to the customer or client and set the price accordingly. The aim is to avoid charging too little and so missing out on potential revenue, while not setting the price higher than the customer or client is willing to pay. The key is to identify the benefits you offer the customer and ensure they understand and appreciate them. If you have clearly defined benefits that give you an advantage over your competitors, you can charge according to the value you offer customers. While this approach can prove very profitable, it can alienate potential customers who are driven only by price and can also draw in new competitors. In a competitive environment, it is especially important to differentiate your product or service by demonstrating unique features and benefits wherever possible. The more you can enhance the exclusivity of your product or service or demonstrate genuine added value that your competitors do not offer, the more you will stand out in the marketplace and the easier it will be for you to command higher prices. Understanding your competition will take some research. You need to understand what you are selling, the types of companies you compete with, the amount and types of substitutes, and how companies operate in your industry. Use the following questions to learn more about your competition. How many competitors operate in my market? Are my competitors larger or smaller than me? Are my competitors close by or far away? Does my industry have barriers to entry such as legislation, extremely expensive or specialized capital equipment, or unique ingredients? Is it difficult for new competitors to enter the industry? What types and numbers of products do my competitors sell? What pricing method or methods do my competitors use? It may even be worthwhile to compare a head-to-head comparison of the price of your product or products to your competitor's product or products. The key here is to compare net prices, not just the list or published price. This information could come from phone calls, secret shopping, published data, etc. Make notes during this process about how your company and products and the competition are perceived by the market. Be brutally honest in your evaluation. A fundamental tenet of pricing is that you need to cover your costs and then factor in a profit. That means you have to know how much your product costs. You also have to understand how much you need to mark up the product and how many you need to sell to turn a profit. Remember that the cost of a product is more than the literal cost of the item. It also includes overhead costs. Overhead costs may include fixed costs like rent and variable costs like shipping or stocking fees. You must include these costs in your estimate of the real cost of your product. Many businesses either don't factor in all their costs and underprice or literally factor in all their costs and then expect to make a profit with one product and therefore overcharge. A good rule of thumb is to make a spreadsheet of all the costs you need to cover every month, which might include the following: your actual product costs, including labor and the costs of marketing and selling those products, all of the operating expenses necessary to own and operate the business, the costs associated with borrowing money, debt service costs, your salary as the owner and/or manager of the business, a return on the capital you and any other owners or shareholders have invested, capital for future expansion and replacement of fixed assets as they age. Now let's continue to the remaining factors. Undertaking some sort of market research is essential to getting to know your customer, Willett says. This type of research can range from informal surveys of your existing customer base that you send out in emails along with promotions to the more extensive and potentially expensive research projects undertaken by third-party consulting firms. Market research firms can explore your market and segment your potential customers very granularly by demographics, by what they buy, by whether they are price-sensitive, etc. If you don't have a few $1,000s to spend on market research, you might just look at consumers in terms of a few distinct groups: the budget-sensitive, the convenience-centered, and those for whom status makes a difference. Then figure out which segment you're targeting and price accordingly. Clearly, you can't be a soothsayer, but you can keep track of outside factors that will impact the demand for your product in the future. These factors can range from something as simple as long-term weather patterns to laws that may impact future sales of your products. Also take into account your competitors and their actions. Another key component to pricing your product right is to continuously monitor your prices and your underlying profitability on a monthly basis. It's not enough to look at overall profitability of your company every month. You have to focus on profitability or lack of profitability of every product you sell. You have to make absolutely sure you know the degree to which every product you sell is contributing to your goal of making money each month. Remember, people respect what you inspect. Here are some other practices to help you price right. Listen to your customers. Try to do this on a regular basis by getting feedback from customers about your pricing. Let them know you care about what they think. Keep an eye on your competitors. If you don't have deep pockets and can't afford to hire a market research team, hire some college students to go out on a regular basis and monitor what your competitors are doing. Have a budget action plan in place. Try to have a plan for your pricing that extends out 3 to 6 months in the future. You owe it to yourself and to your business to be relentless in managing your product pricing. Remember, how you set the price of the products could be the difference between the success and failure of your business. Hello, welcome and thanks for choosing this video course. In this video, we're going to talk about how to deliver the result after payment is made. First of all, you need to state your goal clearly. Write what you want for the goal as well as how you want it. Believe that the goals work best if you add an emotional component or inner intention for them. So you want to do X, hire an assistant, write that proposal, edit that film, while also being joyful or facing a fear or with an open heart or being openly communicative, etc. Next is to set your goal time. Goals should be large enough that they require at least 30 days, but no more than 3 months to complete. What's your due date? And then break the goals into categories, both inner and outer. For example, if your goal is to create a website, it can cover hiring a graphic designer, writing web copy, deciding on the feel and look of the website, what you'll offer as a free gift, and more. An example of an inner goal might be managing fear around hiring contractors. After that, you may break it into baby steps. Break those goals down into time chunks of 1 to 2 hours to make each one as manageable and doable as possible. So if you're building your website, one goal might be to research websites that you like. The point is to make it small enough that you can do it without feeling overwhelmed or over time. At last, put them in your schedule. Once you have the baby steps chunked down, you plug them into your schedule, decide what you'll do the first week, what you'll do the second week, and so forth. It's important to grab a basic picture of your client. Is the client public or private? If your client is public, there is an abundance of information available and easily accessible online. If the client is private, it can be a bigger challenge to unearth information, but often all you have to do is ask. Ask the client for the financial statements, internal research, anything they think may be useful. Determine if the client is big or small. You do this by looking at the company's annual sales, market capital, income, annual profits, total assets, and number of employees. Is the client simple or complex? In order to determine the complexity of the client, look at the number of products or business lines. What do the capital and corporate structures look like? Is the business regulated or unregulated? How many countries does it operate in, and what is the number of employees? Also, knowing the client's decision-making process is crucial. As counsel, you need to know how and by whom decisions are ultimately made. Is the culture bureaucratic or entrepreneurial? How does the board of directors operate? Is there delegation of authority, or must all decisions be approved by senior management? When business is tough, goal setting is critical. If you don't want to get sucked into the downward spiral, you'll need to head for higher ground. More important, you need to know how to get there. Make an action plan is the #1 secret to effective goal setting, regardless of what your goal is. The key to reaching it is always the same. The best, perhaps the only way to turn an abstract goal into an attainable reality is to create an action plan, a nitty-gritty, no-nonsense action plan. The fact is that when business people set measurable goals, they are much more likely to attain them. That means not just defining your objectives, but also defining the resources, time, and money you'll need to invest in order to achieve them. Achieving your goals, even big goals, doesn't require brilliance or talent. It does, however, require determination and tenacity, and most of all, a realistic action plan. If you don't plan, you plan to fail. So write your goals down, then start filling in the blanks between point A, where you are today, and point Z, where you want to be. The act of writing your ideas down, or say keying them into your laptop, will force you to think in concrete terms. It'll also spark additional ideas. This is the birth of your action plan. And then break your plan down into baby steps and attach a realistic deadline to each step. Determine how to measure your progress. These measurements will be your reality check. Then define your investment. How much will each step cost in terms of dollars, time, research, and energy? What resources can you draw from, and what additional resources will you need to acquire? Monitoring your business is a great way to ensure maximum productivity and profit. It doesn't matter whether you're a sole trader or have a team of employees. Everyone needs to use their time and skills efficiently to maximize impact. Productivity is determined by many different factors, which can include having the right procedures in place, prioritizing workload, and keeping yourself and any employees motivated. Bring them together. A strategy is essential for any business. However, before you strategize, spend time analyzing all your processes, what activities you carry out, why you carry them out, what the outcomes are, and how you manage them. You can't map out your strategy until this exercise has been done. By having clear goals in place, you can see what you're working towards. But remember, don't make the mistake of only planning for the here and now. If you're going to streamline your process, you need to understand your long-term objectives to make your business last. Having a defined strategy is like setting yourself targets. These targets should be measurable by both personal and business growth. It could be something as simple as sales targets or making new business contacts. Achieving these targets can also really help motivate you and any team members.